Hey everyone, how are you doing? I am live from Japan. Konnichiwa. Hello, Mert, Tamaz, uh, Hans. How's everyone doing? I hope you guys are good and that the early live stream isn't messing you up. But I'm in Japan. It's 9 in the evening here, and if I were to do the live stream at the normal time, it would be 4 in the morning. So I am not going to do that. I'm in the hotel lobby. The lighting's not perfect, but you guys aren't here for the lighting. Good to see people showing up. I'm glad that you guys were able to make this time. Hey, the Fed, Charlie, Axel. Yeah, good to see so many friendly faces here. I'm in Japan. We arrived a few days ago. The World Cup in Japan starts next week, and I wanted to come a bit early to get over the jet lag before the event, because the jet lag can be a killer. It can really be a killer. It's amazing. You don't really notice it. Like, I have this mobility routine that I've been doing now the last few months, and when I'm not jet lagged, it's a piece of cake to do. It's just some light dynamic stretches. But when I'm jet lagged, I notice it coming back from Europe to Maui. And then now when I arrive in Japan, it just kills me. And it's just some dynamic stretches, but it's so hard. And it's a good reminder how impactful all of that traveling is on a body. Oh, the jet lag part in terms of sleeping is okay. So now it's just getting over the travel fatigue, but I'm on a good rhythm. Thanks for asking, Axel. Oh no, Jeff. Sorry to hear that you re-broke your toe. Um, oh, really, really sorry about that. That is a bummer. Max, hello, 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 hello. All right, I'm going to throw up the Facebook group and let's get into it. But we didn't have that much going on this last week. So if you have a question or a comment or anything, throw it in the chat. See what else I can talk about. This trip over, I flew with ANA, was fine with the gear, with everything, with the bags. That's always the worry, right? When you travel with board bags, how's it going to be with the check-in and everything else? And it was fine. I paid, I think, $150 for my stuff. But to be fair, I didn't bring everything. I'm getting sales here, sales en masse. So I traveled just with booms, extensions, fins, boards. One sail. I had to bring one sail. And how does the forecast look? Here, I pulled up the forecast. This is Omiyazaki, Long Beach in the Shizuoka prefecture. And the forecast keeps going back and forth between being epic and being not epic. So it was looking epic for this period, 4-meter waves, 35 knot winds. But at the moment, it's sort of backed off. I'm not even sure what this direction is. I guess it's pretty offshore, so that could maybe be good. But this is the normal direction of wind. This is kind of weird wind. I'm not sure what this would be. Might even be Portac, which would be really strange. You used to be able to get a little picture of the place. Can we see a picture of the place? No. Oh, now we're in graphs. All right, let's go back to the forecast. Can we see a picture? There we go. So here's what the spot looks like. So if we change the degree back to the angle, pretty offshore Portac. I don't know if it will work. This is more the normal wind direction, which is side shore, starboard tack. Anyway, we'll see. It's too early to say with the forecast. That's for the World Cup in Japan. All right, we got a question from Bart. Does anyone use natural rubber wetsuits? How are you finding them? in terms of warmth, flexibility, and strength. The Big C film is pointing to the dark side of neoprene production. Interesting. Bart mentions limestone-based neoprene, and that's what I'm using. I'm using the Matu sweatsuits right now, and they don't sponsor me. Just I bought them because I really like the wetsuits. They fit me well. They keep me warm. I feel like I can use a thinner suit, and that is a limestone-based neoprene. Is it better for the environment? I'm not sure. I've heard that it is because it takes less water to produce, but I'm not an expert on this. It'd be interesting. I don't think there are very many comments here. I'll be the first one. Interesting question. I'm curious to learn more. Currently use a limestone-based neoprene. All right, next up we got a question from Alexis about sail and board size. So we were talking about whether sails and boards have changed size compared to, say, 15 years ago, and whether boards have gotten bigger. And I said they have, because I do think that they have. We used to be riding much smaller boards 15 years ago, and it's not just because I was smaller. I was smaller then, obviously, so I was riding smaller gear. But the trend has gone bigger, and I believe that's because of the multi-fin boards. They allow to have more volume with the same amount of turn. Alexis's question is about sail aspect ratio and higher aspect ratio sails producing more power. I think this is an interesting topic, but it's a difficult topic to talk about in terms of engineering and the sail dynamics, because there are so many things going on in a sail. And this is true with other aspects of windsurfing equipment as well, like fins and stuff. But I guess if you narrow it down to one thing, like early planing, you can see a difference. But otherwise, there's so much going on in terms of using it for rotating, using it for catching waves, getting going fast. And it's really difficult to create a model, or impossible to create a model to see what you want. So it depends a lot on the testing. It's why testing is so important when it comes to windsurfing sail equipment. And a lot of, not all, but a lot of the fin or sail designs that are sort of like aero engineered, I feel like don't really work that well, or they don't work as well as the stuff that has been developed more organically. Like one example, and I know that some people are fans, but like the Maui Ultra fins, they just don't seem to work as well. And that's part of their marketing, is that they're more like engineering designed than the other fins in the market. I know Hans has some good thoughts on this topic. We had some really good discussions about this in Denmark last year. So interesting. Yep, interesting. And then here, Tomas clipped this clip about going backside. And I think he's interested because I'm going backside for so long. I'm trying to go into a backside 360 here. But you can also go for quite a while backside, and it's a good exercise to do, sort of working the wave backside and getting on your toes, being forward on the sail, letting the wind help you up. And then you can go off the wave, do a heli tack, go into backside, like I did there. Tomas is saying if I'll have a chance to talk to Hisataka Ishii, the director of OWN's company that makes custom wetsuit in Japan. Yeah, I'll check that out. Hisataka and OWN. I will definitely check it out. Hans is saying that the sweet spot is in the middle when it comes to development. Makes sense. All right, somehow we're already caught up on the live stream, which is great because it's late in Japan. But I would love to chat with you guys a bit more. So I'll stay on the stream. So Hans is saying that without the engineering, the organic stuff often ends up stuck in a dead end street. Yeah, I think that's probably true. Yeah, I'll ask if I meet the ON wetsuit guy, I will ask many questions. Hans is saying though that you definitely need testing, otherwise it doesn't work. And I agree with that as well. All right, I'm opening it up to you guys. Shoot away with your questions. I wonder if I have any footage I haven't shown you. I wonder if I have footage from Japan. I don't think I do. It's a pretty fun spot though. Omiyazaki, and windsurfing is big here. Japan is one of the big windsurfing countries in the world. So it's exciting to have a World Cup here again. You know, we haven't had a World Cup for, I don't know when. When I started, there hasn't been since I started competing. There were big international events here, which I've come to many times before, but never to a World Cup. I don't know. The last one was maybe in the 90s. So I'm very excited to compete here in a World Cup. Max is saying that windsurfing feels like a sport where the equipment is really person specific. Yeah, that's definitely true. Definitely true. This is interesting. If we go back and look at this here, I wanted to actually talk about this. So I'm doing this just for fun, but it's a good exercise to do where you pop a little wheelie with your board. It helps to do it on the wave. You can see here that I'm really aggressively sheeting out and putting a lot of weight on my back foot and pulling down on the boom to get the nose up, kind of pulling down and up. Get these little wheelies. This is a good exercise to do. It's about sail control, board control, comfort, connection with your gear. You can do them smaller. Like the first one I do is pretty small here. You can see it here. And I just do this sort of as like a setup here, just sort of setting up just to kind of stall my speed. And I realized, oh, that was fun. I want to do a bigger one of these. So I did a bigger one. I was like, okay, I want to do a bigger one. All right, there's a bigger one. But it's a good exercise to do. So I really recommend doing this. No, the PWA has come to Japan. So yes, but different location. And it was a slalom event. So that was near Tokyo. And it was for slalom. So this is the first time the PWA has been back to Japan in Omiyazaki for, I don't know how long, in the 90s. Max is saying that a lot of the equipment that came into the market before was not suitable for European sailing spots. Definitely true. There were a lot of Hokipa-based boards that were put into production that didn't work for Europe, which is silly that happened because Hokipa is so different. And you can't really take a board that's good for most spots in Europe and make it work in Hokipa and vice versa. It'll be too slow for Europe. And in Hokipa, if you take those boards, they don't bottom turn. It's like they've got not enough rail, too much nose. And so then they get stuck on the bottom turn. They just stop. All right, do you guys have any more questions? What else can I tell you? I'm in Kyoto, and I brought the family, which is a bit wild because I don't know why it's wild. Normally, I'd come to Japan alone, but yeah, I don't know. I decided to bring the family, and so we have a little vacation before the event for a few days, and then I get picked up. We all get picked up on Tuesday. We drive out to Omiyazaki, and we're there for the event, and then we're gonna have a few days in Tokyo before we go back to Maui. All right, Axel's got a question. What's your thought on big wave sails? A lot of companies are offering 6-meter sizes these days. Are they suitable for waves or more like free move, bump and jump? I think it really depends on the brand. I know that with Ezzy, we were making some big wave sails, And it was historically an important size for us because one of the big Ezzy team riders for years, for, I don't know, a decade or something, he won his first world title on Ezzy, and I don't know, did a lot, was Josh Angulo. And his go-to sizes were like 5'8" and 6'2", and he uses them in the waves, which is amazing. So those were sails that we developed for wave riding, but they're developed and made to be used for wave riding for someone that has the weight and needs that size in those bigger conditions and has the strength to maneuver it around. You know, Josh is over 200 pounds and he's a strong guy, and he's on 100 and whatever liter board and making it work really well. But that doesn't mean that if you're 80 kilos that you should get a 6.0. You know, for me, the biggest wave sail that I need is a 5.5. And I mean, that was true even when I was heavier. Now I'm like 85, 84 kilos, but even when I was 90, 92 kilos, 5.5 was the biggest sail I needed. And beyond that, I felt like I had diminishing returns. But if you're heavier, then those bigger sails will be really useful, especially if you're sailing in more float and ride spots where you just really need to get going and get out. So it depends on your size. And some of the sail brands are maybe making more of a free move sail in the bigger sizes. Look at the outline, see if the outline looks smaller or similar to the smaller sizes. If you have a huge foot on the sail, then it's more of a free ride sail. If it still has sort of a high foot, then yeah, it's designed for the waves. But I think a lot of people go too big for their big sail. You know, I see a lot of guys that weigh less than me with 5.8s and 6.1s and whatever. And if you like that, go for it. I'm not trying to get you to change your quiver, but I think that maybe with some of the smaller sizes, if you rig them fuller, you'll find that you get the same power and more maneuverability. There's something weird that happens too with just a diminishing return where you have this bigger sail, it weighs more, it's harder to maneuver around, it's harder to pump, and you don't actually get going any better than you would on a smaller size. Like, that's the thing. If I take a 5.8, I'm not going to go any better than I do on my 5.5, especially when my 5.5 is really bagged out. So, you know, if you weigh less than me and you're going out on a 6.0 or a 6.5 for wave riding, try a smaller sail, try a 5.5 and see if that gets the job done when it's really bagged out, or a 5.7. But yeah, I don't think you need to go too big. And, you know, a lot of guys, a 5.2 is maybe going to be as big as you need, or even a 5.0. That said, I do think having the big stuff is really important. Having a big board, though, is more important than having the big sails, because if you don't have a big board, it doesn't matter how big your sail is, you're not going to be able to get out and get around. But if you do have that big board, if you have that floater board, then you will be able to get out and get around, even if your sail is a little bit too small, because the board flotation is way more important than the sail size when it comes to those lighter days. And if you don't have a floater board, you should look at getting one, because even if it doesn't turn as well, even if you're not as excited to use it as you are your pro whatever board, that floater will get you more days on the water, catching more waves on other days when the wind is marginal. Ultimately, it will make you a better windsurfer. You'll have more fun. So the floater board is really huge. If you don't have a floater, it's something that's really worth investing in. It gets you more waves, more days. More waves, more days. You know, I see people going out in marginal conditions. Okay, they're on the water, but their gear is just too small. And so then in an hour, they catch one wave. And if they had a bigger board, you know, an extra 10 liters, they'd maybe be catching 10 waves in that hour. So it's a 10 times difference. It's a huge difference. Huge, huge, huge. Hans is saying that he's 95 kilos and never goes bigger than a 5.5. The Fed is saying, which is the right difference in volume between big and small wave boards? I think it depends on, I think it really depends, but I think 10 liters, 10, 15 liters is a pretty good difference, but you want to try it. But I think 10, 15 liters is somewhere to start. If you start going too big, then you're on a boat and it doesn't really do anything for you. My floaters are more like 7 to 8 liters more than my main boards. But I think for most people, you want to be sort of 10 to 15 liters bigger than your board. You don't want to go like 20 liters more. Maybe, I think 10 liters is pretty good. 10 liters, that buys you like 22 pounds of flotation, 10 kilos of flotation. That's pretty good. And it's good to test it. Like I am lucky and I've had the opportunity to test a lot of different boards. And what I found is if I have a 95 liter board, a 98 liter board, and a 101 liter board, they all kind of get going the same in the really marginal wind, but the 95 liter board is going to turn better on the wave. So it's actually a 96. So the 96 is what I choose. I don't need the 97. I don't need the 99. I don't need the 101 because the 96 gets going just as well, but it turns way better. So that's what I choose for me. And so 96 in my main board is 88. So 8 liters different. Hans is saying that board drag is an important factor in light days. Any sail will propel you if you have a bigger board. Yeah, cool. All right. Yeah, Max is saying that he misses the demo days that used to happen. Yeah, it feels like there are not as many demos as there used to be. I don't know why that is. I think trying equipment is super important. So trying it from friends at the beach or wherever you can. And it's not just about knowing what to buy, it's just knowing different kinds of feeling that you can have on the water. It's one of the reasons why I really recommend experimenting with your gear, with the boom height, foot straps, all of this stuff. So, especially with boards, I think it's really important to experiment with boards because a board can really shape what you feel is possible or not possible way more than a sail can. And so sometimes you can get stuck in a certain niche of what you think is possible in windsurfing, not realizing that it's just what's possible with your board. And so if you try a new board, it can open up whole new worlds of windsurfing for you. And there's an initial hurdle that you have to get through in order to appreciate that, because when you try something new, it's going to feel weird. But then once you get over that hurdle, you can really explore new worlds of possibility. And then you might realize that you like what you already have. You might realize that you need something else to complement what you have. You might realize that you don't like what you have at all. So there's a lot to learn, and it's even more than I feel like I'm compressing it down to something too simple, because when you are trying a board, you can learn so much about like, oh, I can actually turn way tighter than I thought I could, or oh, this board slides on all the cutbacks and my board is carving on them. That's something I like. I didn't realize that before. So anyway, Max is asking if there's going to be a live stream. Yes, there should be a live stream. There should be. That's what I've heard. What's the time difference? The time difference with Europe is, I think I'm 8. Oh, excuse me. I think I'm 8 hours ahead from Central Europe, so 9 hours ahead from the UK. But I think the daylight savings is happening soon in Europe. I don't know. You guys tell me. Are you guys changing the clocks soon today? I got a little notification that it's happening today. I have no idea because in Hawaii we don't do any daylight savings. We don't change the time. So I didn't grow up with it. I'm not used to it. I don't know what day it happens. It always catches me by surprise. Is it happening now, today? What is going on with the daylight savings? Anyway, at the moment, it's 9:23 p.m., which is, I believe, 8 hours later than Central Europe and 9 hours later than the UK. So you might be able to catch early morning, you might be able to catch some live stream action. Should be good. Brasinho was sailing really good before this. I've been feeling good on the wave riding. My jumps are a little bit rusty. I haven't done much jumping on starboard tack. Mario is saying that time change happens the last weekend of March. Okay. And time change in the US happened today. Okay, that's good to know. Thank you guys for informing me. This is another good thing to practice, doing this just sort of down the line, one-handed, just really feeling the power of the wave. It's just easier to do when it's side off. But there are versions of that you can do when it's onshore as well. This too is a good exercise, just getting the speed on the top of the wave. Trying to go as fast as you can. Even just going the whole wave like that is a really good exercise. Just building speed, staying high on the wave, building speed. You can even do that when it's really onshore. It's an exercise I like to get people to do, even places like Pozo and Tenerife, where it's really, really onshore. Just open the sail up as you do it. All right. I'm going to call it a day. Thank you guys for showing up. I'm going to do the live stream, I think the same time next week, Sunday, and the week after that. I'll confirm it with a little bit more notice in the group. It depends a bit on my location, what's going on with the event, all of this stuff. But 9 p.m. should be a time that works for me here. So it will be, the same time. If the time's not changing between now and then in Europe, which it sounds like it's not, then it's the same time as now. I am in Kyoto for 2 more days, and then I'm in Omiyazaki where the event is, hopefully getting on the water. You guys can check out the live stream. I guess, I don't know where it is actually. Since I stepped down from the PWA management, I feel like there's a lot I don't know anymore. But maybe it's on the PWA site, maybe it's not. But anyway, you guys can ask your questions, post your photos, videos, comments, all that stuff in the Facebook group. And I look forward to seeing it there. All right, I'm going to sign off. Take care. Have a good day. I hope it's windy. And I hope to see you next week, Sunday. All right, everyone. Thanks for showing up. Bye-bye.